We're back, and we're joined by retired Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, the former U.S. Army Europe commander, who's here with us to discuss the Russian troops massing on the Ukraine border and what the U.S. and NATO are going to do. General Hodges, good morning.
Hey, Jesse, good morning.
Now, you hold the Pershing Chair in Strategic Studies at the Center for European Policy Analysis. So first, tell us what the Center for European Policy Analysis is. What do y'all do?
Jesse, CEPA, the Center for European Policy Analysis, is a think tank that focuses on Central and Eastern Europe. I think we've been an expert for several years now, particularly on the Black Sea and the Baltic Sea region, but we've also expanded our attention into disinformation, digital domain, and emerging and disruptive technologies. But we really are focused on that transatlantic relationship.
And where do y'all get your funding?
Our funding comes, like most nonprofits, from a variety of sources. We depend on government grants, on foundations who are interested in the same priorities that we are. And then, of course, we have corporate sponsors as well for different type projects.
You were the top U.S. commander in Europe as recently as 2017. What do you make of the recent movements of Russian troops on the Russia-Ukraine border?
Well, of course, what we're seeing now is a continuation of what started back in April with the first visible surge of Russian capability. I don't think a conflict is inevitable, but certainly all the pieces are in place if the Kremlin wanted to expand the current kinetic operations they're doing now.
So what exactly should we be watching here in the United States when it comes to these tensions ratcheting up in Europe? What exactly are you looking at, and what should we as the American public be looking at?
I think three things. Number one, I would continue to listen to what the Kremlin says. The language coming out of there from President Putin, Minister Lavrov, and some of their representatives has been really harsh, and the rhetoric has increased. And I think that part of this is them testing us, testing the new German government as well, but also preparing their own population. So this is something that I pay attention to. Secondly, I would watch for how our allies rally around the United States. The United States, with all of our economic and military power, cannot do this alone if the Kremlin believes that they can ride out U.S. sanctions, and if they don't have to worry about sanctions coming from the European Union, from Germany, France. So getting our allies with us economically and diplomatically is going to be very important. And then, of course, the third thing, if there's going to be an expansion of the kinetic operations that are already happening in Donbass, we're going to have to see some of the logistical effort required to sustain land operations in wintertime.
You said you looked at this as a way that the Russian government is testing us. Are you talking about trying to figure out what its relationship is going to be with the Biden administration?
Well, I was very happy when the Biden administration, when President Biden in his first phone call with President Putin several months ago said that the sovereignty of Ukraine is a priority for the United States. And so I think the Kremlin is testing how high a priority that is and what we're willing to do to protect and respect Ukrainian sovereignty. So this is one part of the test that I'm talking about. And of course, I think President Putin wants to distract his own population from the terrible conditions there inside Russia. But I really think it's a test for the new German government that will be in place come Wednesday. This is going to be a very important part of how this goes forward.
Why is Ukraine so important to the United States and NATO and what's going on with Russia right now? What's the strategic importance of the Ukraine?
Jess, that's the perfect question. And people should ask, why do we care about Ukraine other than the fact of it's a great culture and great people that have done so much to try to earn their own freedom and protect their own sovereignty? The fact is, Ukraine matters to us strategically because of where it sits on the map. It's not an island. It's part of the Black Sea region. And so we have three NATO allies, Turkey, Romania, and Bulgaria in the Black Sea region, and we're committed as part of NATO to help protect those countries. Secondly, there's significant economic potential as a east-west economic corridor between Europe and Eurasia that would run through the Black Sea. and the Kremlin does not want to see that develop, because then you have Western democratic countries paying a lot more attention to what Russia does in the region. And then thirdly, it's important to us because you've got Russia's use of their illegal bases in Crimea as a launching pad for everything that they do, supporting the Assad regime in Syria, for example, in the Eastern Mediterranean, as well as their malign influence in the Caucasus and in the Balkans. That's only possible because of their attempted unfettered use of power in the Black Sea region. This is why Ukraine matters to us.